Yeah. Hey, I don't wanna hit a cap, you can save it. With my guys and we got it up the pavement. Listen up, it's what everybody's saying. Round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Hey, round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Hey, round of applause, give it I know they weak by the look in their faces. All of these rings got me feeling like Brady. Say what I feel, I don't care how you take it. Round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Hey, round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Yeah.
Say how you feel, and I don't care how you take it. Shout out to my boy Miles Per Hour. We back at the episode 12. It's your boy Devi Dev, a.k.a. the kid that did. Devo the Don, a.k.a. Too Much Sauce. Showtime.
It's so energetic.
I'm just, because I'm happy, man. It's been a minute, it feels like, but yeah.
Nah, for sure.
I know why, but go ahead, Trey.
It's your boy Trey, you know what I'm saying, a.k.a. Pac-Man on the track. You know what I'm saying, Duce shot at him, not them, Hemi Turner, him Duncan, Hebron James, all that.
Definitely, I'm D Jones, a.k.a. the alien in the room, a.k.a. the designated caster, a.k.a. it's a mic is only a mic until I speak on it. But yeah, welcome to the show, Crowd Favorite, episode 12. We in the building.
Mr. Well Alright, too.
Yeah, Mr. Well Alright. Forgot. Oh,
Well, all right.
my fault. I forgot. Yeah. Mr. Well Alright. But we appreciate y'all listening to Crowd Favorite. We want to also apologize to y'all. I think we had like a whole week off. We didn't record. Life. We're all very busy individuals. Trey's doing pilot school. Devin and I are teaching. We're getting ready for state, state testing, all these different things, family situations, all the different stuff. But we definitely appreciate y'all. A lot of people reached out to me personally and was like, where's the show? I'm sure for y'all as well. So we definitely just want to not necessarily apologize to our listeners, but just let y'all know, we are appreciative that y'all are so, involved with wanting to see the content we put out. So thank y'all for that. For sure.
Give y'all some understanding.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Good way to put that for sure. Mm-hmm. So we'll jump right on into it. The hot pocket conversation, I guess, for the evening. The guy OBJ.
I was like, who? Like what?
Yeah, but OBJ. He finally did sign. It was kind of like random too, out of nowhere, but he signs a deal with the Baltimore Ravens. A reportedly 1 year, $15 million deal that can be worth up to $18 million with incentives and so forth. I'm assuming in that contract they have a injury clause, like if you don't get hurt, you can get the $18 million because he has a history of being hurt, and his injuries are not necessarily small ones; they're usually big injuries. And so, I actually was reading earlier before y'all got here that there was an anonymous agent that deals with the NFL, and he said that contract is crazy, and they shouldn't have done that, and that's why a lot of teams passed on him, and why it takes so long for him to get signed, because they were saying he should have got like 11, 12 million. Not 15 with a chance to get 18. Like when he has his injury history, it's hard. So I think he definitely bet on himself. And the Ravens, they seem like they're in desperation mode to try to, land a big signing for their organization. So what's your thoughts on it?
Well, the last big splash that the Ravens had like this, as far as from the receiver position, was Steve Smith. When Steve Smith came from Carolina, he actually got a Super Bowl with them, and he changed the culture at receiver for Baltimore that hadn't had key threats like that. Like you had Torrey Smith, you had some guys, Jacoby, what's his name, Jacoby
Myers
Jones,
Jacoby Jones. Okay, yeah.
You had some solid receivers, but it wasn't a Steve Smith. He showed you why he was a true number one. And I feel like getting Odell is showing, hey, we found a true number one. But when you see 1 year deals like that, like you said, it's kind of like, hey, I'm betting on myself. Like C.J. Gardner-Johnson in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're going to just get, a large lump sum right now. We're going to figure it out after the year. Whether it's like a prove it to themselves, proving it that you are still worthy, because the talent is there. Odell Ben had the talent, was a top 12 pick. He came in the league in 2014. And since then, like, he's made, a huge leap, but this is his fourth team. And, he's a Super Bowl champ, and he did get hurt in the Super Bowl, got him a touchdown, whatever. But at the same time, like, it's, like you said, a serious injury, and ain't too many more ACLs you can really, happen. So God forbid, anything happen, he stays healthy and he can actually get a full-term contract, meaning like 3 year plus deal somewhere. Maybe Ravens is his final home, and he could just retire there, ride off in the sunset. Hopefully, he can try to get a Super Bowl. I think since it was told, that Lamar recruited Odell, that we could probably see Lamar staying. So that's something that's going to be important in the next couple weeks. We got the draft coming up in about 15 days. This will be on April 27th. Is the first night on a Thursday. And you could probably see Lamar Jackson, get the deal done before then. Because it may that their draft pick may, move up or move back from the 23rd pick. And since, Odell is there, it's kind of like hey, let's reel Lamar back in real quick. Let's show him that we are trying to help you, because that's been a hot concern. Rashard Bateman hasn't stayed healthy, shows some sparks of what he can do. But, maybe Odell can be that veteran that can push him. And I think now their receiving corps is a little bit better than what it looks like. You have Isaiah Likely that's coming back. It's his second year, and then you have Mark Andrews that's helping him. Isaiah Likely develop. So he got some weapons. J.K. Dobbins coming back fully healthy. Pray for a longevity season for him as well. The Ravens could do something. I can see that.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good pickup. I think he needed somebody. I think he needed somebody who can be a solidified number one for him. And at this point in time, with the options that he does have, he has a designated check down in Andrews, but you can only check down so many times during the game. You know what I'm saying? You need that deep threat. You need somebody who can run across the middle of the field on like a deep end or something like that. So I think it's good that he got OBJ. And also what I think it really is kind of like a leverage for Baltimore to actually get what they ultimately wanted, which is Lamar Jackson, and to be able to not give him as much money as he's asking for. And I had heard that, Lamar and OBJ had been having conversations with each other throughout this whole process and everything. So maybe, you never know, when they signed, I wouldn't be surprised to see that number that Lamar was requesting to be dropped, maybe not significantly, but it's going to be definitely lower than what he was asking for, because they might have told him, or they might have came to an agreement of like, hey, if we can get you OBJ or a good number one receiver to come here, would you be willing to take less money for us to pay them to be here? Because think about it. If they're giving him 15, 18 million, they're already talking about how money's low to be able to give him the money that he wants. So it's like, we're already going to give 15 to 18 to OBJ. You definitely not going to get this money that you just asked for. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Lamar getting, a pay cut in that request that he was asking for. But in this situation, if I was him, I'd be cool with it. I'd be like, you know what, I'd much rather get him in here, get OBJ in here, take this pay cut, play with him and play with everybody else I got, solidify my name even more than I already have, because now that he has a good receiver, like we talk about all the time, his passing skills. He can actually demonstrate those a little bit more, because he got another receiver he can actually get the ball to. So once he could do that, that's going to give him the leverage to where he can be like, you know what, now I definitely want to get up out of here. And one of these other teams can pay me this bread that I've been asking for. So.
And to piggyback off what you just said right there, someone else would definitely give me what I'm worth if I show you what I'm worth, after these ACL injuries. Think about it like this. He signed a 1-year deal, right? Lamar is officially available next year, okay? This is like a little tweeny year where it's like, hey, like, you can either sign up on the franchise tag, which they tried to do, didn't work. Now it's not going to really possibly be an extension. It's like he may sit there and say, I'm going to bet on myself one more time. I hope he don't do that. But think about it. Odell just said, I'm going to sign 1 year just in case if it don't work out, I can go do what else I want. I'm not tied to you. You ain't tied to me. And I feel like, even Lamar and him they were just in the club, him and Odell on FaceTime together, put it on his story. Like, it's showing like, hey, like, why would Lamar be so excited for him to come to Baltimore if he wasn't trying to be there?
Exactly.
Well, I take a different approach with it, honestly. For one, I'll say with Lamar, I know with franchise tags, now this makes me think about Kirk Cousins, a team can actually franchise tag you 3 years in a row. It significantly gets more and more money they got to pay you for that 1-year deal when they do that, which is why franchises try to avoid that. I also makes me think about Dak Prescott. Right before he messed his ankle up, he was trying to get this long-term deal. He wanted a 4-year deal so that he can have the leverage and get another big contract after that. Cowboys wanted to sign him to a 5-year deal. That's where that whole discrepancy came. Then he broke his ankle, and then they gave him like this real big contract and front loaded him $75 million in that first year out of his contract to kind of make up for whatever. I personally, this is my thought. What you were saying, Trey, I kind of agree with it. Because Lamar is wanting a certain amount of money, when I was reading last week, they said the Ravens offered him $190 million guaranteed, fully, and he still said no. And I was reading, they said that he wants, Deshaun Watson money or better, and so teams are saying no to that. He's not gonna get that. I personally think that even when I think about the club celebration, I don't even know if I even think that these two are necessarily trying to play together. I think Odell is the same mindset that Lamar has. He wants his bread. He wasn't settling for 11, 12 million, or he would have been signed. You know what I'm saying? He betting on himself. I want this 15 to 18. He got a team that's willing to give it to him. I still think before it's all said and done that the Ravens will trade Lamar Jackson somewhere else, and they'll just take one of these young quarterbacks, and then let that person throw to Odell. Odell knows either way, even if Lamar is not there, he knows he's the number one option now. Again, he ain't behind Cooper Kupp. He number one option. He know he gonna get the ball whoever's out there. He can get his stats up and then get his big payday next year. So OBJ still win. You know what I'm saying? If Lamar is there or not. I think we were talking about earlier. If I'm thinking about the best places for Lamar, crossing over into that, we talked about this too. I think the Houston Texans with the number 2 pick should call Baltimore and say, "Hey, we have pick 2 and 18,
2 and 12,
2 and 12, and Baltimore has 23.
Yeah,
23. We'll give you 2 and 12. You know what I'm saying? You give us 23 and Lamar. That's a win for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't think either way says no. You know what I'm saying? I think Houston becomes the city. You know what I'm saying with Lamar. You know what I'm saying? They have some weapons over there for him. You have a good coach who has a good culture he's trying to bring over there. Houston is a lit city. Lamar's in Texas where there's no state luxury tax, so he's not losing a lot of his contract money when he goes over there. Then you allow that second overall pick. You have basically your pick of the litter between 3 of the 4 quarterbacks, depending on who Carolina takes, with Baltimore to rebrand yourself, maybe change your offensive playbook, whatever you want to do, and you have a number 1 threat for that receiver to have a good piece to kind of start his career with. So I think, to me, that's the best place for Lamar. If I was his, he don't have an agent, but if I was him, if I was in his ear and his circle, I'd be like, hey, why don't you try to push for Houston? You know what I'm saying? Because I think when teams are like low in that draft, you see Cardinals are doing the same thing, panicking. Like, they don't necessarily want to draft that early. They want to get some assets, and so you can trade off that pick and get Lamar Jackson in return. Why not?
No, I definitely can see that happening for sure. I just think I'm a logical thinker.
Yep.
I think from a logical standpoint, it would be very misleading for them to act the way they've been acting as far as like Lamar and OBJ, for them to be on FaceTime, to be posting it on their stories and whatnot, be out in public with each other, like publicly congratulating each other and celebrating each other, making it seem like, oh, we're happy we're about to be playing with each other. That would leave us. I mean, not that it would matter because he's going to chase talking about Lamar, he's going to chase his bread and go play where you want to play. But just imagine you're a Ravens fan. You're just like, oh, I'm seeing OBJ and Lamar chilling with each other. They're posting that, or Lamar's posting that, oh, yeah, OBJ is coming to the Ravens to come play and all that type of stuff. Oh, Lamar's staying. They finna play together. They finna run it up this season, yada, yada. And then Lamar ends up like, yep, I'm going to catch y'all. I'm dipping. And then from OBJ's perspective, I don't think, yeah, he's trying to get his bread to try to build his, like you said, build himself back up that way. When the end of the year comes, that he can go to another team to give himself some leverage. I wouldn't put myself in a situation to put myself on a team to where I'm trying to build leverage on myself when I don't know who my quarterback's going to be. Granted, he can have somebody come in from college, one of these top quarterbacks and stuff, and they can go out there and they can shine. But at the same time, you got to remember, like, these college quarterbacks and they come play in the NFL, so it's a big transition for some of them. Right. Some of them hit, some of them don't. And I would be like, in this situation, I got 1 year to make myself known again. Well, not known, but prove myself again. I need to make sure I'm with somebody who I know I can play with and I can speak that into fruition and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like Lamar might end up staying there.
The only reason why I think that, that's a good point you made, Trey. The only reason why I think that Lamar is definitely, not Lamar, Odell is thinking differently is because I think Odell realizes, like, this might be my last. If I get hurt, I got $15 million guaranteed. If I get hurt, this might be my last NFL contract. Mm-hmm. So I think for him, his mindset was, like, I need to get the most money I can get. Period. I think he would have gone to whatever team offered him the most money. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he was really caring about who the quarterback is or going to be or was. Like, I think he was in the mindset of, I want the most money. Even when I was reading too, even when he got this deal with the Ravens, he told his agent reach out to the Jets and see if they want to match. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want me to come there if they willing to match. And Jets was like, no, we're not paying him $15 million. So he immediately signed with the Ravens. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I think that's why you think about, like I was saying before, other receivers like D-Hop. You know what I'm saying? He could have been there already. Last year, DeAndre Hopkins, wasn't it Devontae Adams? He could have been there. Like, I think other receivers, and it ain't nothing to do with Lamar. It may just be the organization. They don't want to go there because of the playbook, whatever. But I think for Odell, his mindset is, I need to get the biggest payday because I have a kid now. This might be my last contract if I get hurt, God forbid. I need to try to get as much money as possible to, like, continue the lifestyle I've been living, you know what I'm saying, because I've been hurt a lot. And teams don't want to sign me because of my injury history. So I think for him, his mindset was just purely money. Lamar, like you said, a good point. You made a trade. Like Lamar knows without a shadow of a doubt. Now the money I wanted for sure ain't gonna be there because he get his boy $15 million. You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm gonna have to go even lower. I think for him, like I said, to me, almost seemed like it was just like a celebratory. Like, man, get that bread, boy. Like your bag is next. Like last year, Odell was sitting there at the Mavericks game watching Luka with Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like I think they just people always hang out and go out and take pictures together, and they all it's a camaraderie of the league. But I think everybody's like just trying to get the bag and make a legacy. So I don't think I personally don't put too much on the hanging out the club and type of stuff.
I feel what you're saying. I like both of y'all's comments, but to piggyback off what you're saying, D, is how like Lamar may see like, dang, Odell, you kind of took a little bit of mine,
Right.
So I am gonna go somewhere else. Houston seems like the best option with the second and 12th pick. D'Amico Ryans, there was a reporter that just said D'Amico Ryans, someone in his camp said that there is a chance that they may not draft a quarterback at pick 2. Maybe Will Anderson. Maybe a premier pass rusher, the best pass rusher in the league, hands down. In the draft, and it kind of like made a little sense to me. Like, okay, they may not draft a quarterback when you see who wants, you know what I'm saying? It may be like a little, like a pissing contest with Carolina. Like, oh, we don't want him. So like it's kind of like a psychological thing. Like we want you to pick who you think is going to be the best fit for you, and we still might pick a quarterback. Like if you let Bryce Young go, we're gonna pick him, right? But we're not gonna say it out loud because we know who you may pick eventually. Like since I feel like Carolina's so undecided with 3 quarterbacks, Richardson, Young, and Stroud. Like it's like, okay, if I make a comment, if someone from my camp act like we don't need a quarterback, you're gonna pick exactly off what your gut is telling you, and not off an offensive move for the next person behind you. Meaning, oh, okay, whoever he picked, they probably got in their mind, hey, if Carolina picks Stroud, like for me personally, I feel like CJ Stroud's gonna go number 1 right now. Do I think he's the best quarterback? No, but I think he has the most upside as far as like stature and the physique of what Frank Reich wants. Yes,
Accuracy.
Accuracy. CJ, but it's like overall better quarterback is Bryce Young, right? But I feel like Texans want Bryce Young. I feel like they would prefer Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. If it was the other way around, Texans had the first pick, they would have got Bryce Young. We wouldn't be talking about this. It would be an anonymous first pick. We would be like moving on to the second pick. But because it's Carolina and, what I'm saying, they getting all 4 quarterbacks 30-day visits and stuff. So it's kind of like, they're confused right now of who they really want. The Texans have an opportunity to allow, to still get 2 first-round picks and trade that for Lamar.
I think that the Texans, the only way that they immediately send that car, was it is Bryce Young there. If CJ Stroud go first or Anthony Richardson go first, Bryce Young is coming off the board next.
Yeah, but
immediately.
That's what I'm saying. They probably got like a draft board, like, hey, hypotheticals.
But I also think that if Bryce Young go first, then the Texans go into a panic. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, like, damn.
Like who's the second best option?
That's what I'm saying. Who's gonna take? Like, why they didn't take CJ Stroud when the reports came out there? Why they didn't take Anthony Richardson when the reports came out about that? Like, do we want Will Levis? Like, you know what I'm saying, do we want to get Tanner McKee? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have all this.
And they only got 10 minutes to pick.
Right. So I think that it's gonna be one of those situations where they're going to, just panic, and then they might end up, like you said, pick a pass rusher or trade the pick. You know what I'm saying? Like Lamar. You know what I'm saying? I always say this too. I don't care, like, as much as I love Bryce Young, I'm not an Alabama guy. As much as I love Bryce Young, like, I'm still big on, like, I know what this veteran can do. I'm going to get him before I put my money on a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
And I feel like with D'Amico, he I watched his there was like a YouTube like a welcome back, type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking, he said, man, I remember when I played for the Texans and I had not him himself, but them as a team had it packed. And I wonder if you remember the Arian Foster days, the Brian Cushing days, D'Amico Ryan days where the stadium was packed. You know what I'm saying? Good amount of attendance. He said we're gonna get back to that. Like we talked about when we thought Atlanta was going to look at Lamar, right? It's about filling seats. Houston needs that rejuvenation in the city. Like, hey, we need people to come because Houston Rockets is almost done. They already letting Coach Silas go. They already told him this past weekend, like, hey, it's a wrap.
Yeah, mutually agreed to part ways.
Yeah, so, like, Houston needs some energy besides the Astros. We got the Astros on lock. But if you think about, like, everybody else, like, as far as the other 2 big teams in the city, like, somebody got to be excited about something. Baseball ain't all year round, unfortunately. It's close to it, but it ain't all year round.
They play enough games. 162. That's just a lot. That's a lot. Of,
Yeah.
that's a lot of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Jumping into your team.
Hey.
There you go.
Rise up, man. Today, man, a great day today. As soon as I saw it, I called my boy. He on his off period. And I was like, D, like, bro, look. He like, what? I was like, Jeff Okudah just went to the Falcons. I'm going to repeat that again. Jeff Okudah just went to the Falcons. We have literally a top 10 defense now. I don't care what nobody say. We have a top 10 defense in the league. You got Jeff Okudah, A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates, and a upcoming rising star, Richie Grant. Then you still have Casey Hayward still on the roster. We may or may not cut him depending on the price. I would like to keep him as a veteran, keep him at the nickel. We just got Mike Hughes. We got a lot of first rounders in that secondary right now. You know, Calais Campbell, Walter Payton, you know, man of the year. Twice, I believe. Having that leader on the team, man, it's exciting. I really feel like once he picked Atlanta, he showed like, hey, this could be the next team that be just as good. Hey, if you look at what they're doing, they're taking the playbook out of Howie Roseman's playbook. Hey, this is how you build a championship team. You build around the quarterback. Everybody, hey, man, like, y'all stupid, y'all didn't get Lamar. Man, everybody not trying to pay that. Why? When you can go get other assets around. If you can build around a young gunner that you're not paying that much for, I think $4.4 million that he's getting, it's a third rounder. And you can go get Calais Campbell, Jeff Okudah, Jesse Bates. You can go get David Onyemata. You can go get all those guys. Caden Ellis.
Point still remains, though. If y'all would have traded for Lamar, you'd still be happy.
I would still be happy. I feel like any team right now, fan would be happy if Lamar Jackson came in there, unless you're a Pat Mahomes.
Or Josh Allen.
Or Joe Burrow. That's it. But even if Joe Burrow was to get traded and they got Lamar Jackson, there would still be some happy fans in Ohio.
I don't think so, though. I think them three quarterbacks, I don't think you trade them
I ain't gonna lie, you
three.
got to throw my boy Jalen Hurts in there, too. Them four.
Yeah, them four. I don't think you trade them four at this point for Lamar.
Nah, for sure. But, like, right now, I just feel like, man, like, we're building something. And I feel like some championship teams come from like the defense. It comes from the people around. It ain't the quarterback. Sometimes the quarterback is just a person on the team.
Random question: do y'all trade if you're Jacksonville and they call you? Do you trade Trevor Lawrence for Lamar Jackson?
Price wise, no. Price wise, only because you drafted him the first pick in the draft. Like, and he got you to your first playoff run in years. I feel like you hold on to what you drafted. Because sometimes everything that glitters ain't gold. You know, and we don't know, like, Lamar's state. You know, it could be a bad offensive coordinator that he ended up falling into. Of course, he's going to do his due diligence and find out where he's comfortable at, look at the offense. But in the same retrospect, it's still like they may sell wolf tickets and be like, hey, we have all this. And once you come in, it's going to be totally different. Now he unhappy again. I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar bet on himself and he don't sign a long 10-year contract like a 5+ year. You know, Max Dell, he might go get, hey, you want me? I'm only gonna play 2 years for you, 3 years for you. And I feel like the market is gonna start being like that, where you see, like, it was shocking when we seen C.J. Gardner-Johnson do that. Like, what? After the season that you had, tied in the NFL with 6 interceptions, all of a sudden you only doing 1 year, bro. Like, really? Times has changed.
That's a bad choice, though, in my opinion. You trading Trevor Lawrence for Lamar?
No. Well, the reason why I wouldn't, I feel like, is because am I thinking from the Jacksonville's perspective?
Or, I mean, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
if I'm thinking from Jacksonville's perspective, or even Baltimore, like, there's too much those teams are going to have to do. Well, I feel like Jacksonville's going to have to do a lot more to reconstruct their offense by getting Lamar added to it versus what Baltimore would have to do with Trevor Lawrence. Because when Trevor's back there, be like, okay, cool. We got to change up some of these run plays we had for Lamar and, like, you know, these bootlegs and stuff. That way Lamar can get busy because he didn't have as many targets. But if Lamar goes to Jacksonville, their whole offense going to have to change. Like, because Trevor is built around to where Trevor can run the ball. He can run when he needs to, just like any quarterback in the NFL now. Like, we talked about this, like, not too long ago. It's like the quarterbacks nowadays definitely need to have a little bit of running ability to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're not always just going to sit back there in the pocket. But, you know, with Lamar, it's like, okay, yeah, a couple times during this game, you're going to run for about 10, 15 yards on a run. You're more likely to break that off. But with Trevor, it's like he's more so a solidified, all right, I'm going to drop back in this pocket, you know what I'm saying, shuffle right, shuffle left, dish it out to whoever I need to and whatnot. But I feel like if Jacksonville got Lamar, it would be a step forward because they got a great quarterback. but it'll be a step back because it's like, all right, we got to reconstruct this offense. That way, us as coaches and an organization, and also Lamar and the offense are both in a comfortable situation to where you're not going through all of OTAs and preseason camp and the preseason being like, oh, we got these new plays, we got this, because if you're on a team, it's like you got, like I remember back when I played, like going into each year, you remember the plays that you run, you remember the chemistry you got, you know how to step on certain blocks and on certain run plays and certain routes. But when you got the new quarterback coming in, it's like these receivers, they used to running the ball down the field and Trevor dropping back there and letting it go. But now you got Lamar back there, hike. He gets back there, they run it down there. Oh, shoot, scramble drill. Now I got to run back and forth on the sideline until he gets the ball to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can change up a lot to where everybody mentally is going to have to get themselves reacclimated to the new environment that they're set in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I wouldn't do it because, like you said, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall, a great quarterback for them. He changed the dynamic of their football team here from how it's been in the recent years and whatnot. So he's somebody I would definitely bet on as far as Jacksonville. I would be like, let's see what he can do. He's been progressing each and every year. So it's just like he hasn't done nothing for us to be like, yeah, let's get him up out of here for Lamar, who's obviously causing some troubles with the organization he's in right now. Nothing like crazy, but financially and, the relationship he has with them and stuff. It's like, do we want to take on that? Do we want to give up what we got right now to take on those problems and the potential problems they can come with? Or do we want to stick with what we got right now? Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And once it breaks, that's when we should start looking at other options. So considering that.
My second team with Lamar, like since we don't talk about Lamar, is Washington. I feel like Washington makes a lot of sense because, like, hey, Lamar, we have weapons. Hey, we have Eric Bieniemy, who's like, hey, I got Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. You tell me if that's what he really want.
Didn't they like deny that? Because I remember there was a time where they said, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you good.
But there was a time where they was like, oh yeah, Lamar might be going to Washington or whatnot, and then I think somebody from Washington was like, yeah, no, we're not pursuing that.
Yeah, well, they're going through a debacle right now with like their front office. So like they don't know what's going on. They don't know if they're gonna have the same owner by the new season. They don't know a lot, and I feel like with Lamar's situation, like they can free up some space for him. Like you have Chase Young, who he's not the best, defensive lineman right now, on that line right now. And I feel like he could be part of a trade package. I feel like because it's like best player available. Like they drafted him second, you know what I'm saying, after Trevor Lawrence. So I'm thinking of it like, oh well, they may go ahead and put him on a trading block. Hey, we'll give you Chase Young, Baltimore. We'll give you our 16th pick right now. We'll move up in the draft or whatever. You get the 23rd, and we'll give you next year's for Lamar Jackson.
I just think teams are too focused on trying to be relevant. Like, that's and I guess what I'm trying to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is like the relationship between Baltimore organization and Lamar Jackson is so damaged. Like, it needs to be done. It's almost like you brought up Paul Silas Jr. in Houston. Like, they went into the office and mutually agreed to part ways. Like, that's what needs to happen, in my opinion. Like, too much stuff has been said publicly. Lamar Jackson blasted him and said, that's cap and this and that and the other, and I asked for a trade March 2nd or whatever. Like, too much stuff has been said. Like, when training camp comes or OTAs come back up and then he walks in that locker room, like, yeah, you might have half the locker room who's like, yeah, Lamar, yeah. The other half might be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you always going to have that split.
Yeah. I feel like that you are, again, in my opinion, the most important position in all professional sports, the quarterback. It's not like he's a receiver or a tight end or safety. Like, you are the quarterback. You're the general, the engine for the team. Like, that matters. And I think, like, it's just like, again, it's just that relationship is so, like Drake, so far gone. Like, it needs to just be, mutually elsewhere. Like, even what's his name, the coach, he said last week, he was at the I guess like the owners meeting, he was like, yeah, like, don't be surprised if we go get a quarterback. How do you say that publicly and you're trying to get your quarterback to stay? Like, that's nothing he want to hear. You know what I'm saying? So I think, again, like, it's just too much done on both sides. It just need to be a mutual depart.
That's like a lot of tit for tat.
Yeah,
they're acting.
And that's why you should expect a trade maybe on draft night, first round. You may hear dun 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 dun. It could be within the top 10.
Dallas. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Oh boy, we wouldn't hear the end of it.
No, I ain't gonna lie. Him for Dak, I mean, sure, I'll take him for Dak. I think anybody for Dak.
We don't know what's gonna go on. Like, I really feel like how the cards are dealt with the first three quarterbacks with Richardson, Young, and Stroud would determine what a Baltimore team would do, what a Washington team would do that's out of the top 10, what a Tennessee Titan team would do They're not sold on Malik Willis. Ryan Tannehill is aging, and I don't think he's the right quarterback for them at the time.
Good,
I think he's solid.
Yeah.
Would I be surprised if Tennessee didn't work something out with Lamar? No, I wouldn't be surprised. They didn't say nothing about him. They ain't counting him out, to my knowledge. So I'm like, okay, you don't like Malik Willis? Hey, we'll give you Malik Willis. Still proven like development. He can work with your offense. He's not that bad. You can not a starter, but you can put him in your offense and you can still go draft a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And now you have the 11th pick if the Titans still stays at 11 because they may trade up. But however that works, they could do something where it's like, okay, we can get Lamar Jackson. It's GMs and owners waiting for the draft to get Lamar Jackson.
There's one team that ain't gonna lie, in my opinion, like Lamar would have been traded if it wasn't for one player. That's Brock Purdy.
Oh, Brock Purdy? Oh, yeah.
If Brock Purdy didn't emerge as that guy, he'd been in San Francisco, and Trey Lance would probably be over in Baltimore. This has been done.
Easily.
Easy. This has been done. But Brock Purdy almost like deserves a chance to showcase what he can do for a full season.
Facts. But yeah, just look out. We do have we're gonna record live for the NFL draft where we call live picks, even trades. So if I feel like there's gonna be a trade at pick 4 with Indianapolis, boom shakalaka. You're gonna get that. You dig what I'm saying? I took that at D-Jones.
Yes, I did.
Boom shaka. That's why he's smiling.
Yeah.
I think I saw something on Twitter. I'm not too sure how accurate it is, but I think I saw something about Tennessee might be either trading or he might just not re-sign Derrick Henry.
Yeah, there was trade talks about it. Yeah.
Now what if Tennessee was like, hey, Baltimore, we'll send y'all Derrick Henry and y'all give us Lamar.
Oh, they'd be like, well, we need J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins too, yeah. But I mean, he got injury issues too. Bye, have him.
Well,
But
Derrick
Henry, imagine that rotation. Derrick Henry and J.K. Like, that'd be a nice little rotation.
That'd be crazy. I mean, and Derrick Henry keep on saying he want less carries too. Wow. I mean, he's the first ballot Hall of Fame regardless. So.
And I'm starting to notice a lot of like vets that are aging are starting to say like Calais Campbell. He said, "Man, I just want to do 60%. I'm only gonna really play the first 2 downs. Get me out of there." You know what I'm saying? Because it's like he's older now. He could do more of the mentor role and still be productive. And I feel like Derrick Henry still know he has some left in the tank. But if he take the carries that he's been taking, I don't think that his career would be longer than what he imagined. Because he's taking a lot to the legs. You know, like he hard to tackle. So that's what they aiming at. You got cornerbacks the $190. You know, like I'm diving. I'm not hitting you head on and hurt myself for what? Like,
I ain't gonna lie, I love this one time. Baya! Like how Earl Thomas hit Gronk. You ever saw that hit?
Yeah.
Hit him straight here. Baya!
But it's not every person
Everybody can
that
do that,
size
yeah,
got
for
that
sure.
dog in them like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so.
I feel that's a good conversation. What was I want to ask y'all? So real fast, I wanted to ask y'all a question about still on quarterbacks, but we talked the last time we met and got together to do what we love to do. The 3 quarterbacks that were being talked about going number 1, we actually all gave our opinion. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson, number 1 to Carolina Panthers. Who will go? We've been hearing like literally like a carousel of all 3. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday it came on Breacher Report. The betting odds show that like significantly high now for Bryce Young. Before that, we kept on hearing C.J. Stroud. Then I heard that Frank Wright is like super enamored with Anthony Richardson, loves him. Even Hendon Hooker might, be a Baker Mayfield and just actually, slide into that number 1 spot. So, excuse me. What I'm saying, like, what's y'all's? Who do y'all think is going to? I'm gonna ask y'all again. Who do you think they're going number 1 at that number 1 spot?
I got CJ, only because I feel like the way Frank Reich look at like a stature of a quarterback is someone that resembles himself. If y'all don't know. When Carolina became an expansion team in 1995, he was the first starting quarterback for that franchise. So for him to get that head coaching position, he probably gonna find somebody that has like a prototype, not as far as talent because they all better than he was, but as far as like stature, like height and size and accuracy, like you're gonna put the one with the height. You're probably gonna look at more of the physicality of it more than the overall talent. Like I really, really, really want Bryce Young to go to Houston. I really do. Like I really do, because I feel like with DeMeco Ryans and I feel like in that division, them going against Trevor Lawrence twice a year, I feel like Bryce Young will give that. I feel like any quarterback will give that energy, but because of who Bryce Young is and what he has shown and what he has done, and I feel like there's a history of receivers going or quarterbacks or receivers going where they're teammate was.
You don't think it's too much? Try to cut you off. You don't think it's too much? I guess pressure on like an incoming rookie. You know, earlier Trevor was saying like the mental, what's the word? Transition from college. No matter how good you are, from college to pro, not everybody can do that. Even Pat Mahomes sat for almost a whole year. Like, you don't think that's too much pressure on a rookie to go to Houston?
Well, it's unfortunate because the first 3 quarterbacks off the board is gonna have the pressure because they need quarterbacks now.
But like, but again,
I
like,
think you're talking more so about like external pressures and stuff.
Yeah.
As well,
yeah, I'm
right?
saying like just it's Houston. You know what I'm saying? I got like C.J. Stroud going to the Panthers, Bryce Young going to Houston is fine, but Cardinals ain't picking a quarterback. Colts really like they not like super, you know what I'm saying, bad where there's a lot of pressure on them like that. Who's 5?
Seattle.
Seattle, if they draft a quarterback, you sitting for a year. You know what I'm saying? I think once you get past them first 2 teams, like any quarterback gets drafted, you good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not nearly as like Houston and Carolina, that quarterback might be playing day 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They
Like
will be playing day
you know
one.
what I'm saying? You might go into OTAs and training camp as the guy. Yeah. When they walk in the field, like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And I do think this though. I do think that with Houston particularly, Davis Mills isn't bad. I think he probably will get the okay for the beginning. Maybe for the first couple weeks he had to do in the first 5 games before they play. Carolina, that's totally different situation. He gonna play. Where's Tyrod Taylor at? He still in the Giants?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, I'll have to look it up. But you know, this one one of the times I would call him up. Because I mean, again, you know what I'm saying? Like this, I don't know, man. It's when you're a team that needs so much, like honestly, I do agree with you though. If I'm one of these quarterbacks, I do rather go to Houston than Carolina. Carolina has nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like no running back, they let him go. They got one aging receiver who's still very good, but they got another receiver who's never really been that guy in Shark. You know what I'm saying? The line is not that great. Like no quarterback has been successful over there. They have no line. They have one good D lineman in Brian Burns, who's on a franchise tag. You know what I'm saying? Like secondary, they got one good corner in Dante Jackson. Like they need help everywhere. JC Horn too.
That's their best thing.
But he's also injury a lot too. So like, I mean, they you know, they there's so many things like that they need over there that's like, man, like, you know, you can have a great quarterback go over there no matter who it is, and they just dwindle on down because, you know, as I said, Baker Mayfield wasn't fair to him, wasn't fair to Sam Darnold, it wasn't fair to whoever was before them, like PJ Walker. Like, how can you succeed when you have nothing? Mac Jones, even with I'm talking about your team, like you have nothing to work with. How can you succeed? You can't. Mm-hmm. It's the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I think Carolina is. It's tough for anybody going to Carolina. I think Houston's a little bit better because they have other pieces and have a good defense. Definitely top 10 defense for sure. It's just, I don't know, it's tough.
So who you picking?
If I'm Carolina? Honestly, if I'm Carolina, I'm picking, and this is off the mental, I'm picking Bryce Young. Bryce Young had the second highest IQ ever in the little Wonderlic test. Second highest score ever. I think he had a second to, I think it was Brady Quinn maybe. Somebody like that. Second highest ever. He's very smart. I'm not going to lie, like, when you are playing quarterback and he's my height, 5'10 and a half. He's a half inch taller than me. And the average height of the lineman is 6'3". So when he says hut, them players stand straight up. You know what I'm saying? This is different in college. You know what I'm saying? You might have a 5'10 center in college. You know what I'm saying? These guys are 6'3 and up. You're looking above all these guys. Not everybody can be a Kyler Murray, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Doug Flutie. Like, not everybody can be that. And we don't know what he's going to be, even though he looks amazing right now. He'll be one of the greatest college football players we've ever seen, for sure, already. But look at other players who've been greatest college football we've ever seen. Tebow, Vince Young, like other players like that sort. Like, they didn't pan out in the NFL. It's a totally different game.
Sam Bradford.
You know what I'm saying? Brady Quinn. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Troy Smith.
What's that boy's name? Troy Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of players who just were like super, super good. You know what I'm saying? AJ McCarron, like in college, didn't pan out in the league. And I think, again, that's why I would never like put my money on a rookie when I can have a chance to get a proven veteran.
That's valid.
So to answer your question earlier, Tyrod Taylor still with the Giants.
Giants? Okay, cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. For me,
I didn't even see him do that.
no, I looked it up on my iPad. But for me, I don't know. I'm gonna stick with my same answer. I'm gonna say Richardson. Reason being is because I would like to see something kind of, for lack of a better term, like spicy happen in the draft.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's unexpected. Mm-hmm. To be like, oh, they took Richardson because, you know, they got a lot of, not film, but they got a lot of videos from his pro day, like people hyping him up, saying he looked really good out there and whatnot. But going off of what you were saying, like Carolina, that's a place to where they got a lot of rebuilding they needed to do, and you couldn't really see them betting all their money on like a really Like they're all good quarterbacks, but it's like I don't want to bet all my money on this quarterback whenever we're having to rebuild and we're having to get all these other assets to the team to make us good together. Now it's my logic coming back in. Okay, I wouldn't want to get I'd much rather get a piece to the puzzle that kind of fits what we have already and build together versus bringing somebody in that is way out of our league as far as talent wise. So let's just say if they went and got a Bryce Young. Like you said, it was unfair to all these other quarterbacks that came in to a really like doo-doo team, and it looks like they're just not good. It looks like they're not successful, but it's because of the people they're surrounded with.
Right.
So with what people say about Richardson is, like you said before, he's like, yeah, I don't think he's going to be a quarterback that can come there and play day one, like on some of these teams. But if you put him on a team to where he could go in there and play day one, he's not surrounded by a lot of people that are outshining him and all that type of stuff. He's trying to play catch up. He can be around some players that are just like him. He's helping the team rebuild. Like he's a part of that rebuilding stage. So they get him on the squad. He starts to become that leader. People start following him. Like, okay, yeah, you're a rookie. You're just getting in. People are doubting you. It gives him that space to kind of prove himself. And then once they actually see what type of player he is, it's like, okay, we can start building around him because he's our guy now. You know what I'm saying? They're starting off back at square one. And then also the reason why I like him there is because look at how successful they were with Cam Newton, like when he was in his prime. They say he's the same build as him. They can make that same offense that they built around Cam Newton and build it around Richardson and whatnot. He might not play the exact same way as Cam Newton, but that's something they can build on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that they're going to get Richardson. I would say it would be between CJ and Bryce Young, but I think that them getting Richardson would be a cool little shake to the draft because they can build around him, and it would give me the confidence to where it's like, okay, yeah. Sometimes I remember back when I think it was did Baker go number one?
Yeah.
So like when he was in there, they were just like, yo, when Baker went, when what's his name? Richardson, running back from Bama. Trent Richardson. When he went to the Browns, everybody was like, man, if you get drafted to the Browns during the draft, your career is over. Like that's what they already knew. So if it was up to me, I feel like if I'm going into the league and I'm like, okay, I'm on a doo-doo team, but I know when I go out here, I'm going to be that guy. Like, they're going to rely on me so I can go out here and make something out of nothing. And if I can do that and have a successful season or a couple of successful seasons, they're going to start realizing, like, okay, we need to get Trey some more like assets on the team to help him out, take the load off of him and all that stuff, start building around him. And then when it's time for me to go, leverage that contract like we was talking about these players doing before, get on a way better team and be successful instead of being people like Eddie Lacy, Trent Richardson, these type of players that went to, semi-okay organizations and didn't really thrive like they should have. Mm-hmm. Didn't really live up to the expectations that they had. That way, when it was time for them to leverage and get somewhere, and they felt like they always say, like, "Oh, I'm still good. I got my legs under me. I can go out here and play right now, a couple games and stuff." But nobody's gonna believe in you. Like when it gets to the NFL, it's a business. Nobody's gonna go off of your word. Like for instance, like how we was talking about Cam Newton. Cam Newton's like, there's not 32 quarterbacks that's better than me. It's like, okay, well, your last couple seasons you was in, you wasn't producing, so we can't go off of your word just because you out here training, posting videos and stuff. When you get on the field, you're not producing. We can only go off of what you given us here recently. You know what I'm saying? Right.
And also, too, with Cam Newton, again, as I was saying earlier, too, two teams he played for last was Patriots and Panthers, again. And both of them teams, there's nothing for him to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, he struggled. But also, I saw this earlier, too, on Instagram. Cam Newton actually has the most passing yards by a rookie quarterback in his first game with 422 against the Cardinals September 11th, 2011. I actually saw some of the highlights earlier. I didn't know that he had the most passing yards by a rookie quarterback on his debut game ever. So pretty dope. Second is 334. So almost 100 yards more.
Does it say who that was, 334?
Yeah, 334 was by someone last name Robert back in 1987.
I think if you hover over it, it'll pop their name up.
Oh, Ed Robert back in 1987. Okay. Then Trevor Lawrence is third.
Damn.
He just did that one.
Yeah, so 332. Pretty dope. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, wow, RG3.
Yeah.
RG3.
1, 2, 3.
I like what you said about like the first pick, with Anthony Richardson. We did have a shock like that last year. I know a lot of people didn't suspect Trayvon Walker to go number one. I was looking at Aiden Hutchinson at first, and I really, literally, I'm sitting there watching TV. I'm like, Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, it's Aiden Hutchinson. I'm telling my fiance, hey, it's Aiden Hutchinson. She's like, who? I'm like, Aiden Hutchinson. I seen Trayvon Walker. I was like, oh, I don't think I know what I'm talking about. But I watched him creep from 12, average 12, pick. You know what I'm saying? He just trickled down all the way because his stats were just crazy. 40-yard dash, the vertical, everything. I think the vertical was like 40. Everybody was just freak athlete. and he actually panned out for him. For Jacksonville, they literally have been drafting pretty well these past few years. And I'm just looking like, wow, they got Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hudson, and they both panned out for both teams. But I would love to see a shocking where everyone is like Bryce Young, everyone's like CJ, like everybody watching, they say, oh.
What if they trade that number 1 pick again? I heard that rumor too,
bro. And this is what I was thinking while y'all was talking. If Carolina trades with the Ravens, oh my God. Hey, hey, this is in. Lamar Jackson is traded to Carolina for the first pick. For the first pick, they probably could say, hey, look, we're not giving you next year's pick. We're not giving you a first round. We're going to give you this one. You get the first pick. Make a decision. Like, you know what I'm saying? You give us Lamar, we'll take care of X, Y, and Z.
We'll take a first, a fourth, and a fifth.
Bro, I would be sitting here like, oh, snap. So, hey, I just want to put this on the record. Lamar Jackson could possibly trade to Carolina and pick one, and they trade out of that, get more assets, because some people are looking at them like, wow, the Bears won that trade. If you talk about it, he's like, hey, Ryan Poles, you the man, because you just hustled the Carolina out of their number 1 target, and you got the first pick. And you still got a top 10 pick. Sorry, you still in the top 10, and you got DJ Moore. And then it's like, oh, okay, they see the reports, they see they getting mocked, right? Oh, let's shake it up again. Baltimore, come get it, and now we're gonna get more assets, and we got the 23rd pick now.
I was reading online too. They said that the Panthers didn't want to trade DJ Moore. What happened was they were looking at their team, and they said, you know what, like, and that's what makes me say they might have more moves on the way, because they said the way our money is set up, like, we can't afford to do these other moves you want to do and keep him. So they added him in that trade, which means they might trade that number 1 pick again, go get Lamar, pay him the contract, and then you get that 23rd pick from Baltimore.
And go get a receiver.
Another receiver. You know what I'm saying? So
Or Bijan
Robinson. Yeah, that's crazy. Don't do that.
I hope that don't happen. But
Cowboys, I need Cowboys to scoot up. You know what I'm saying? Trade on up and get Bijan. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about Pollard. Collard.
When I think about the Cowboys, I can't see Jerry Jones saying, hey, I'm gonna trade up. Like, to me, to be honest, this draft is not as exciting as it was in 2022. They have some players. You got Bryce Young, you got CJ, you got Bijan.
It's exciting. A long time I've been for a draft.
Nah, I think they had some heavy hitters in the previous draft. Like, I think this is a good draft.
Last year?
Yeah. I feel like defensive-wise, it was crazy last year. But even the year before that, I feel like it was a little bit better. I don't think this is a bad draft. We haven't seen, but as far as like overall best player, they went from Jalen Carter being the overall to he has off the field issues. So now Bijan is the best player overall, and then it could turn into Bryce Young is the best quarterback we ever seen.
Only person I heard him say is gold jacket for sure is Bijan. So I think Austin Eckler controls a lot what happens with Bijan, because if he does get that trade, he's gone. Speaking of, you saw what's his name?
Bijan might go to Atlanta, by the way. Just
I do agree with that. Devin White. So he was a free agent, re-signed with Buccaneers, and then today he requested a trade.
Where can you see him going?
I mean, I have to see why anybody know why he requested or what happened.
Oh, I just feel like it's not exciting in Tampa no more. Like, it's like, hey, we're crumbling. Hey, we're not really making like any splashes right now because we probably can't afford it. I haven't looked at their cap space, so I don't really know how much they're working with. But with Tampa, it's just like we had a nice run. We got a Super Bowl out of this. Let's go get the bag. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Levante David.
That's the thing. He tricked them. He got the bag, and now he has more trade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Levante David was on the cuffs of leaving, then came back. And then he's like, man, I'm gonna go test the waters too. Because, know, he's... What?
Buccaneers have second lowest.
And you see they like, hey, how are you going to be able to extend me next year when my extension is up? How are you going to be able to give me what I need, my 5th-year option? Let me go ahead and get to a team that can still be contending, that team that'll pay me the buckety-bucks. What you looking at?
Cowboys right there. They could probably make a move. Go ahead.
Devin White, because you missed out on Bobby. You know what I'm saying? You re-signed, Van Der Esch. But it's cool. Hey, I would definitely put Devin White before Van Der Esch. Or put him on the other side.
They wouldn't do that.
Or put him on the other side.
Yeah.
Put him on the other side.
Or I would have him and Michael on each side to have Van Der Esch.
Wait, he rush?
He can, but he a middle linebacker.
No, him, because you got to think it was him and David. They was the ones playing. Depending on the coverage.
Middle linebackers.
Yeah, it'd be like the Sam and the Will situation. It wasn't really always a 3 linebacker set. But nah, they'd be sending him on blitzes and stuff up the middle for sure. And David would be dropping back and vice versa. But
and he can cover.
I have a question though. So as far as like the draft and everything, something I think about that goes on because like you talked about last year, everybody's expecting like every year everybody is going to expect certain people to get drafted in certain areas, and then sometimes you'll have those number one picks end up dropping down really low. Not really low, but like further than what you thought they were. But what I think personally happens with these draft picks is because they talk to teams, they go on visits and whatnot, and I feel like certain teams get contracts in the works with these players to where they already know where they're going. I feel like it's just a show whenever the draft comes up for some of them. Some of them don't know. Some of them are just literally waiting on that call. Cause I think about stories with like Dion and whatnot, like going to talk to certain teams, just like, oh, well, I'm not going to be here by this time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to talk to
him.
him.
When with the Giants at pick
you know what
10?
I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not even going to be on the board. So more often than not, they're actually waiting to get drafted and whatnot because they'll have these conversations with people. But I feel like some players, they'll talk to a team and be like, okay, let's just say, who's got the 5th pick?
Seattle.
Say Seattle, right? Say Seattle went to Bryce Young. Bryce knows, okay, I'm going number 1. I'm probably going to go to Carolina. He could probably talk to Carolina and figure out, okay, this is the type of money I'm finna get going number 1 and whatnot. But then Seattle can come to Bryce and be like, hey, look, we want to draft you at number 5. We can't get up there to get you at 1, but this is what we want to give you. This is what we're going to guarantee, yada, yada. And then he can look at both options and be like, ooh, Seattle, I'm going to get the bag over here, way better situation, whatever the case may be. And then they can kind of self-sabotage with some of these teams.
Yeah, the
like,
Eli Manning.
Like, I'm not trying to mess with y'all if I come here. Like, I'm not going to want to play it. Just whatever the case may be, even though that would be made public by a lot of these teams. But they kind of probably do some things where it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to mess with y'all.
Trevor Lawrence did the same thing. I think Trevor Lawrence literally stayed in college a whole another year to avoid going to a team, the Jets maybe, the year prior. Because he said, I want to play in the Jets. So he waited he went back to school in a whole another year, and I'm going to Jacksonville. Eli Manning, I refused to play in San Diego with the Chargers, and they traded him for Phillip Rivers. That's very, very well known. So you're right. Even in the NBA last year, Chet Holmgren, 7'1", Durant-like player from Gonzaga, said he refused to play for Orlando. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't draft him, and he went second to OKC.
You know my favorite player, Michael Vick. Atlanta didn't have the first pick. Back then it was
Wasn't the Chargers?
Yeah, it was the Chargers. It was the Chargers because they had pick 5. And that's when LT went.
Yeah,
LT went. He got that pick or whatever. But in that year, I watched a podcast. He was like, "Man, I honestly knew where I was going moments before." He said because I was looking in San Diego for a crib. And my mom was out there, and it was like, dang, like she gonna have to fly a little further. The cost's gonna be a little more. And then he said, man, I got that call. Hey, we're picking you at number 1. It's Atlanta. He said he already knew, so he was already getting his house in there. So he's like, all it was at that point is call the name. Jalen Waddle knew that he was going to Miami at a point. Like he was like, yeah, I already got the call. Like that's why when he got up, everybody was like, oh, he didn't celebrate his family. He said, I had already knew where I was going. Some, like you said, some people do know. Like, hey, like. Yeah, so I feel like with some of these 30-day visits, top 30 visits, hey, this is our scenario with you, Bijan. Because a lot of teams want you, Bijan. Hey, if the draft fall this way, we're taking you. If the draft fall this way, we may trade back to take you. Like, kind of like I feel like a lot of these teams are like kind of envisioning the person that they want with the team and thinking of the different possible ways that they can get them. And when they do the sales pitch to the person that comes to the interview, they make them believe like we want you. But like you said, they always go back in that room and say, okay, who's the number 1 person that we're gonna go for if available? Because what I've noticed since Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith have came in, Atlanta's what I know the best. But when you think about them, they're looking at best player available. They're not looking at how we used to, we need a ride out, we're going to draft a receiver. No, they're saying, hey, who's the best person right now? Because that's going to make our team better overall because we're getting the best of the best, not of what we need. Because a lot of teams like Cleveland get a player need, like, for instance, we need a offensive tackle. And you go draft one, but you could have got a DB that you could have, helped bolster up your defense. But now you got this offensive tackle, and he didn't pan out that well.
Real fast, in 2021, you know this for sure. Did Cowboys trade up to get Micah? Or were you already there?
No, they traded back because they had the 10 pick, and they swapped.
With who
No,
though?
wait.
'Cause I want to say I couldn't say something about obvious way. I definitely heard Michael Parsons speak on. I want to say I thought he said the Giants. He said he knew for sure he was going to New York.
it was the Giants at 10, and the Cowboys were at 11, and 12.
Giants went back with Eagles.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Michael Parsons was like, I knew. He goes, I knew I was going to New York. Same thing he said. They told him I was going to New York, and then they traded. He was like, what? And then he said, next thing I know, he was like, at 10, Devontae Smith goes to the Eagles, they get a receiver, and I get a phone call.
Dallas.
You know what I'm saying? Because Chicago gonna get a quarterback. And he was like, dang, I knew, you know what I'm saying? He's totally so shocking about that. I was like, dang, that's crazy when the team tell you that. And he's like, never mind, we trade back.
And even Pastor 10. I watched it on
Cowboys
the
supposed to get.
yeah. Pastor 10 was like, yeah, even Big Pat. He was just like, man.
We knew he was going to Dallas.
We knew he was going to Dallas. They had already said it. Like, we wouldn't even worry about nothing they were talking about. Dallas.
Wait, I zoned out. Who'd y'all say the Cowboys traded with?
So, like, back in
This was-
2021, Cowboys had the 12th pick. The Giants had the 10th pick, and they traded with the Eagles. And the Eagles ended up taking Devontae Smith when Giants had already told Michael Parsons they were going to take him.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
But the Cowboys got hit with the switcheroo because they like
Denver came in there and took my boy Patrick Surtain.
they thought Pastor 10 was gonna fall to pick 10.
Yeah,
That's what they was thinking. And Pastor 10 was like, yeah, I just thought I was gonna be in that. Like that's just crazy. Though. Like you said, like you be sitting there, you smiling, you like.
Like,
Like-
and the crazy thing is him and Trayvon played together in college. That was nasty.
Yeah, who's at the 14th pick? Wait.
This is 2 years ago.
2021. 14th pick was Elijah Vera Tucker to the Jets.
Oh yeah, because while I was reading, I was trying to look it up while we was talking. It was saying the Eagles. Wait, who's at 12? Okay, Dallas. The Eagles, who set at number 12, courtesy of the Dolphins, sent the 12th overall pick and the 84th overall pick to move up 2 spots to select the Heisman winner Alabama receiver Devontae Smith, and Dallas would stick at number 12 and draft Michael Parsons. So I don't know. I feel like this is saying that the Eagles was at 12 and they traded to move up to number 10. And I don't know if they traded with Dallas or if they traded with the Dolphins. I don't know if I'm reading this wrong or whatnot.
Yeah, I thought Giants was there, but maybe not. I don't know. But I know that I do know it.
Either way, they got him.
Oh, Chicago. That's what it was. Chicago traded with Giants.
Oh, for Justin Fields, yeah.
They got Justin Fields. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. See, they got, if you look at the Eagles, it says they got number 10 from Dallas. Yeah.
Come on, Dallas. That's what happened. See, Pat Surtain went. That's what it was. We were supposed to get Pat. When he went to 9, we traded with the Eagles. Like, well, F it. Get more picks. And then Eagles went and got Devontae Smith, and then 2 picks later, we got Michael Parsons.
One thing I can say about the
traded with the
Cowboys,
Giants.
y'all know I ain't a Cowboys fan, but one thing I can say about them, my cousin Daryl, when he see this, he gonna agree to this. Y'all have one of the best draft, models in the league. Like y'all draft great.
Bless you.
Like I remember when I was in high school, my homeboy Tuck, shout out to my boy Tuck. Tuck used to be like, dog, like we always drafting linemen. At that age you didn't want to understand it, but you're like, dang, they got the best offensive line, group in the league for years.
Yeah, man.
It's just like y'all literally know how to draft.
Ain't your efforts.
Like shout out to y'all just don't know how to finish games when it comes to like postseason. You can talk about Atlanta all you want.
I ain't saying anything. That's crazy.
Because you smiling because you was like,
I mean, it's too easy. It's just too easy. You know what I'm saying?
But it's like y'all draft so good. Like y'all really do. Like you can't really think about like, dang, was he a bust? You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't have too many busts in y'all's like history. Y'all really draft like y'all supposed to. But when it comes to like, hey, can y'all make it to the Super Bowl? Like no, this was year 30 for y'all. And y'all still ain't.
One pick I will say that I was pissed off with recently is when we drafted Van Der Esch when TJ Watt was sitting there. I was hot about that. Like in the when they picked him, I was like, come on, man. Like I get it, Van Der Esch, whatever, but like TJ Watt was sitting there, show you what he can do. Like I was pissed off about that.
But you look at it, it's like, dang, they still didn't miss because it's like he's still there.
Yeah, but he's not TJ Watt.
He's not. But that's the pick of the litter. Like people are gonna say, "Ooh, I'm gonna pick Bryce Young," and they're like, "Dang, CJ Stroud won Offensive Rookie of the Year."
But the thing is, like I'm
Like,
looking at like, okay, for instance, you draft TJ Watt there. Now we're not necessarily having to draft Michael Parsons a couple years later because we can go get another piece. You know what I'm saying? Like it just creates another opportunity for something else. You know what I'm saying? One of these safeties who came out, one of these corners who came out could help out Trayvon Diggs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of helped out in a different way. We wouldn't have we needed a pass rush at that point when we missed out on Surtain. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to go get Michael Parsons. He's the best player on the board. But TJ Watt, I mean, Michael Parsons got nowhere near it. Them sacks that TJ Watt almost breaking the record. You know what I'm saying?
Is
like
TJ Watt a bona fide DN or linebacker?
He rushes every pass. He almost broke the sack record last year. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they're different players then. Because, I mean, I feel like Micah – I say this to say, like, I think it's good y'all got Micah. I would be happy with Micah versus having – like, if I had to be like, hey, you want TJ or Micah? I'd be like, give me Micah because I know when in doubt, I can get him off the edge and have him rush. And he can go back there and get some sacks for us if we need to. But at the same time, hey, yo – play action, needs to drop back. He can recover, get back there in the coverage and whatnot. TJ Watt, he can rush, and he can probably get out in the flats and outside contain. But Micah can do maybe not everything better as far as like pass rushing and like run stopping and stuff like TJ can.
He can cover a slot if he
he's
need to.
hybrid. You know what I'm saying?
But we had a conversation before. Like they don't let him.
Yeah.
They tell him go rush. As I was saying, if he get double team, he's ineffective. TJ Watt, he literally almost broke the single season sack record last year. Like he's getting back there. You know what I'm saying? Like consistently. Micah, not saying 10 sacks is bad, but if no other plays when he ain't getting no sack.
So this perfect world, you get Devin White and Dallas.
I was
right?
just going to say that.
You get Devin White, and then you allow Micah Parsons to do what else he can do. Like we know he can drop back and cover. We know he can possibly go cover tight ends and some slots.
4-3, he better cover. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you could be able to utilize him more than just a pass rusher, and it will open up DeMarcus Lawrence. It will open up, you know what I'm saying, Devin White. They like, if Devin White coming, we thinking Micah Parsons coming. Oh, Micah Parsons is not coming, but Devin White is right in my
They got
face.
to pick. Everybody don't know who's
you know
coming.
what I'm saying? And then you still got DeMarcus Lawrence, and then you still have Vander Esch, and who else? The other edge.
Did you say Lawrence already?
Yeah, I'm thinking of the other edge. Whatever. They got a great defense. But yeah.
I mean, I feel you. I would love, like I said before, I would love if Micah just play middle linebacker. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, just utilize that 4-3 speed. Like, to me, it's almost like, I know Trey gave us this very in-depth explanation, which I went back and looked out about it, like, he's right. But, like, to me, like, if I have a guy who can run 4-3 like that side on the sideline, he ain't rushing like that every play. Sorry. Like, the way the league is now, everybody passing the balls, Mahomes throwing the ball 60 times a game, like, I can utilize him so many ways. Like, he's basically can be what Jamal Adams is not. You know what I'm saying? Like, use him everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Rush sometimes, blitz sometimes, cover sometimes, jump in the slot. Like, a bunch of different ways. Like, having him rush every play, that ain't helping us.
Yeah, it's easy for defenses to pick up on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's funny is
go
talking
ahead.
about Dallas. Shout out to my LB Mike, man. Like, that's a Dallas fan for real. But we be messing with him all the time, me and my Neos and my other LBs. Like, as soon as football season start, Cowboys would be on the screen. We'd be looking at Mike like, hey, say the line.
Yeah.
He be like, what? Like, say the line. He be like, we going to the Super Bowl, bro. And we all just start laughing.
Yeah.
Because you know y'all not.
Yeah, we know. Now with Dak. I would say this too.
Ass.
Dak, come to the show. Anyway, listen, jumping into basketball. First thing I want to say is, the plan, I really do like the play-in tournament that they've done past couple years. This is the third year they're doing it, I think now. So the way it works is seeds 7, 8, 9, 10 play a little mini, round robin tournament to determine the seeds 7 and 8. First game, Hawks played the Heat earlier. They were up by like 20 points in the first half, but they ended up winning the game to secure the 7 seed in the playoffs, which allows them to now play. They're gonna play the Celtics first round. Good luck. That's gonna be easy, probably sweet, but you made the playoffs. And then the other game tonight is the Lakers versus the Timberwolves to determine that 7 seed as well. The winner then plays the Grizzlies first round. And so that should be a good series. I think Lakers are going to win. Lakers and Grizzlies are probably going to be the series of the playoffs first round for sure. A lot of box office there, a lot of storylines. John Morant said he wants to play LeBron to prove a point. I don't know what point he wants to prove, but that's what he said. You know what I'm saying? So, there's a lot of things happening with the playoffs. I do like this time of the year. When the playoffs comes, you have a lot of people trying to prove themselves. This is where your money is made. This is where your legacy is created. I want to ask you a question. How do y'all feel about what's his name, Durant? With the Suns, he said, by the way, they're overwhelmingly favorite to win the title this year. But he said that he doesn't care about his legacy. He just wants to have fun with his friends and play basketball. What's your thoughts on that? You think he's lying? Do you think he's being honest?
I feel like Kevin Durant is a person that is so involved with the social media that he doesn't want to say something and then doesn't pan out because he knows that realistically, like, you can lose. Like, no matter if you drop 40 every night, it could put 40 more points on that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I feel like he's like, all right, every time I say something, you know, like just think about it way, way back when LeBron went to Miami, he made a comment about like super teams or whatever. And he did the same thing, right? And people brought up receipts. Kevin Durant is petty. He really is petty. I'm a huge fan. But I feel like he's being careful with his words now because if he says, like, for instance, what he said is like, oh, like, I don't care about my legacy. Well, if nothing pans out and you don't win a title, well, no one will be harping over you and critiquing you because he's like you didn't care about that. You're gonna have some people. Stephen A. Smith may say your heart not in it. You may have people comment on it, Kendrick Perkins, da da da. But when it comes said and done, like it's like, all right, well, this is what his intent is. So like you can't get mad at him because he didn't. If he said the words, oh, well, I'm trying to get 5 championships. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to have this goal for myself. I'm trying to get the scoring title, the MVP still. I'm trying to do this, and this, right? If that's what his goals are for the future, and he don't get that, like now everybody like, dude, you had the best team, dude, you did this, dude, you're not a leader, dude. It's like he got to go with more social media engagement because he feels like he's always obligated to clap back. He even had like stan accounts, like you know what I'm saying? Account, to try to act, respond to people because it gets to him. So he's like, hey, if I don't say nothing that people can critique me on, then people will leave me alone if I don't obtain that goal. So,
what's your thoughts, Trey?
I believe like what he's saying, and I feel like what he means by that is more so with how people are becoming to him, saying that he's like ring chasing and stuff like that. I feel like he's trying to just justify the fact that like I'm not ring chasing, I'm just trying to go out here and have fun. And whenever he says that, it makes sense because some people be like, well, you are ring chasing because you're trying to go play with these really good teams and teams where you're, think about it. In a nutshell, bro, they're like, you're leaving to go play for organizations that have good players on the team and teams that are going to win instead of sticking it out with a team that you might not win with, is not working out, it might be a toxic situation and stuff, and they're getting mad at him for putting himself in a better situation. Bro, as athletes, if you're playing on a team that sucks, you're not having fun. If you're playing on a team with the front office is very drama-filled, you're not having fun. It's going to make you not want to play the game. You're going to go out there, you're going to look like the villain. You're going to look like, oh, well, his heart's not in, like you were saying. Like, heart's not in it. He don't want to be out here playing stuff like that. Okay, cool. As long as we were on a team that was doing really good, yeah, if we're not going to the championship and winning every year, yeah, like it might be frustrating after a while, but at the end of the day, as long as we go out there, I like the people I'm hooping with, playing football with, running track with, whatever the case may be. I'm having a good time with y'all. Cool. I'm good with that. Just like when we talked about Damian Lillard being in Portland. Like he enjoys himself up there. He like he has his family up there. He loves the organization and whatnot. So he can go his whole career without winning no championship because at the end of the day, you have to be able to look back on your career and ask yourself, hey, did I make it as much or did I make it what I wanted it to be? Am I okay with not getting a ring? Am I okay with the experiences I had, the accolades I ended up having and stuff like that? So with KD, I feel like he's just kind of voicing, because I feel like people are asking him, do you think you're going to win the championship? Do you think you're going to get the ring? They're trying to basically bait him into saying like, yeah, I think we're going to go out here and get the ring. That's the ultimate goal. That way, if it doesn't work out, they can be like, oh, I know you're kind of devastated that you didn't win. Because at this point, he's probably like, bro, I'm not really tripping. Like, I got rings. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not really ring chasing, nothing like that. He's not trying to chase the status of like, the LeBrons, the Kobes, the Jordans, like all these top tier players, like the Shaqs, all these guys who got hella rings and stuff. He's not chasing that. He's just like, no, I'm trying to build my legacy to where I'm one of the best 3 guards to ever play the game. So I feel exactly what he's saying. And like, he's my favorite player. Like, he's my favorite NBA player, you know what I'm saying? So it's not biased or nothing, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. So I just feel like that's where he's coming from.
Well, Hookem, I remember when he signed my hand, I was in, it was the year he was going to the draft. I mean, his only year, freshman. I went to Austin Toro's game. I was in the 6th grade, and you just see, at that time, he wasn't even 7 foot yet. He was probably about 6'10". And I was like, oh, snap, that's Kevin Durant. My mom was like, when he signed my hand with a Sharpie, because that's all it was around, no paper, no nothing. He just signed my hand with it. I was like, Mom, look, Kevin Durant signed my hand. She said, boy, I don't care. Like, boy, erase that off before you go to school the next day. But I was just like, hey, like, he's the next big thing. And it just, I'm glad to say that he actually was one of the next big things, So that's something cool.
Yeah, for me, short answer, I think that Durant, I think a lot of players lie. think they definitely care. I think they care about their legacy when you are a big time player like Durant. I think if you're somebody like Patrick Beverly or Spencer Dinwiddie, you know what I'm saying, more of a role player or more of a second, third fiddle type player, you don't necessarily not care about that much. You know what I'm saying? But somebody like Durant is probably top 5 greatest scorers of all time in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Scores the ball all 3 levels, rack game, mid range, and definitely 3 at 7 feet. The way he moves, like that's like a creative player. Like literally, nobody moves like that. He's the first person we've ever seen come in the league at 7 feet and move like a guard. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's created this whole window of players now that come after him, like Victor Wembanyama, you know what I'm saying, who's coming next year in the draft. Chet Holmgren, like they all play like him, you know what I'm saying, because of him. The same way everybody's shooting threes because of Steph Curry. Like, you're revolutionary. So I think he does care about his legacy in that regard. And I think, honestly, I do think that Durant cares about winning a ring outside of Golden State. Otherwise, why'd you leave? You could have just kept winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wanted to go prove that you can win somewhere without Curry and crew. He went to New York, didn't pan out. I saw an interesting stat. Him, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul have played 8 games together this year. That's the same total of games that Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden played in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Everybody was getting hurt. They never could get on the court at the same time. They only played 8 games total together before James got traded, and then before eventually the other 2 got traded. So, interesting. Jumping into Angel Reese, very, popular person right now. Very popular topic. Her team won the national championship in the March Madness for the ladies side. Congrats to LSU. Definitely. Mulkey, Coach Kim Mulkey, beast. I mean, to go win the championship with Baylor, lead start over with LSU, win the championship again a few years later. She's showing you she's a great coach. Beast. Definitely shout out to them. But the reason why we bring this up is because Angel Reese, if you didn't hear her comments, first we'll go back a little further. In the championship game against, what's the girl's name? Caitlin Clark from Iowa. Just bucket getter. You know what I'm saying? Just bucket. She's like, literally going to compare to somebody. She's like Curry in college with women. You know what I'm saying? 3-point shooter, phenomenon. Really, really good. So in the game, in the whole tournament, especially in the Final Four game, Caitlin Clark was doing the whole you can't see my face thing that John Cena made very famous. John Cena actually tagged her on Twitter and said, "Hey, they can't see your." What did he say? He said, even if they can't see your face, they can't stop you. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said in his comment. You know what I'm saying? It was supporting her, tagging her. Everybody was loving her. Everybody, the analysts, all the other players, like, man, she's amazing. Like, they were interviewing other players from other schools, like, man, Caitlin Clark is a beast, yada, yada, yada. In the championship game, she's still getting buckets, by the way. And she did the whole thing, the little thing that, basically John Cena gave her the okay to do. Well, later in the game, when LSU came back and tapped that ass, Angel Reese was like, basically, she did the thing first. And then later on, she did the very infamous, like, tapping her finger like, I'm finna get a ring. You know what I'm saying? All players do this when they're finna get a ring. They do it as like a way to, like, get ready, fans, we finna celebrate this ring, parade, get it ready, book it, like, we getting this ring. Afterwards, her making that gesture became a big hoopla. Everybody said, she shouldn't do that. It's bad sportsmanship, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? People started making it a race thing, which I think is wrong in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Everybody started doing that. Her comments that night, she said, all year I was critiqued about who I was. I'm too hood. I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. When other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. This was for the people that look like me. That was her direct statement that night on April 2nd after the championship. And so she's been getting like a lot of interviews, interviewed on the Pivot, interviewed on I'm Athlete, a lot of different things. All these celebrities hitting her up. Shaq said she's gonna be the greatest LSU player ever, basketball wise. Okay. Anyway, but first thing I want to ask y'all is how do y'all feel isolating it to just what happened on the court with the gestures? Do y'all think that she was wrong? Do you think that Caitlin Clark was wrong? What's your thoughts on that?
I think she was just being competitive, and I think everybody's kind of blowing it out of proportion because. Like we were saying, Caitlin Clark did it. Even though Caitlin Clark had a video come out where she was actually like explaining what she was doing. Like she was like, I was looking at my coach doing that. I wasn't doing that as a player and stuff. And then she even said like, people need to stop dogging Angel and whatnot because it's like we're just being competitors about her hooping and whatnot. And people got to understand like March Madness, like being in the Final Four and whatnot, like championship game, that's a big deal. And emotions are always going to take part in it. It wasn't like she put her hands on this girl, nothing like that. You can look at it and be like, all right, yeah, like she was kind of forcing a little bit, like, but I don't think she was really in any type of situation where it was like, oh my God, Angel Reese, why was you doing that? Yada, 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 you know what I'm saying? But I think it was cool. Like I liked it when I had seen it. I was like, oh yeah, like turn me up. Like
Yeah.
she out here getting lit. Yeah. But after the fact, all the backlash she was getting and people like basically just getting onto her for no reason. Like, oh, this is like the dude who he runs Barstool. He was just like, oh, like she's a classist.
Wallow?
Yeah, no, not Wallow. That's
the
Million Nuts with the
Barstool
game, but Barstool like the actual thing.
Yeah.
He was like cussing her out on social media and stuff like that, and I was just like, bro, like why is she getting all this backlash? And like she was saying in the interview, she was just like, when other people do it, it's cool, but me as a black woman, like an African American athlete out here doing it to this quote unquote like white girl, Caitlin Clark, whenever she was doing it, the whole world was in like up, like, oh yeah, support Caitlin, like she's out here cooking them and stuff. But as soon as I do it, it's like a red flag, which is like how it is in the world all the time. When we're all African American, man. Like if we do something, it's always going to be underneath the spotlight. They're always going to point out the negatives about why you shouldn't have done this and why it's not okay and stuff. But if somebody else does it, they'll push it under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was definitely over. It was definitely over. What's the word I'm looking for?
Just oversaturated.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Just,
you feel what I'm saying? Like over exaggerated.
Yeah,
they definitely over exaggerated the whole situation. They should have just let them celebrate the dub the way they wanted to. Because there's somebody in the NBA doing that. Like nobody would have said nothing. Ain't nobody say nothing when Patrick Beverly went up to that ref with that camera and was like, "Yo, that's a foul."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They could have ended up like charging him up about that, or like anybody else doing some celebrations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm. But I feel like it was just blown out of proportion. Shout out to Angel Reese, man.
No, for sure. Shout out to Angel Reese, man. National champion. The only thing like that I can see why some people made comments is because it kind of, the way the video was shown, it kind of looked like she went towards her. She could have still did the ring thing, like when Aaron Donald did it, right? He wasn't like really
in the player's face.
Yeah, in the player's face. She kind of like it would look like our point of view from a viewer, like, and she kind of went in her face like, ha, like I did it, whatever. It's still a competitive nature. I'm competitive like that, so I would have did something like that, like just being honest with you. But I just think like as far as with social media, where they draw the lines, like, hey, you went towards her, and that would be the only thing where I would see like, hey, like I can see, I can't say I understand why you did that, because it don't make sense that y'all commenting and y'all bashing this lady like this, but I can see why you may think she was taunting. That's all you should say. It shouldn't be you are not representing your team well, you're a poor sport, or not inviting you to the White House and all that. Like that comment should have never came out from the Biden family. Honestly, like I hate really like getting into politics, but like that just made the Biden family like look like a joke saying that on social media. It made them literally look like, hey, like we don't really care that y'all won because we have sympathy for someone that lost. Mm-hmm. And there's never been second place going to the White House. And I feel like the way society is, it's made, ruffle some feathers, but I feel like the way society is like everyone wants to get a participation award. And that goes all the way down to when we were kids. Everyone gets a participation award, but didn't put the work in, or didn't win. Like I just feel like that's not how life is. Some days you lose, but it builds character. And the days you win, you still gotta have that mentality that I could still be beaten, so I gotta keep working hard to outbeat myself from what I just did. Like I'm not trying to get biblical, not trying at all, but like the best way I could say this is like you're called to do something, like do the best at it. And don't worry about what other people are doing. And I feel like we don't think like that as a society. We think like, oh, well, little Jimmy got that award, so I need that award too. Mm-hmm. I didn't put the same work in. I wasn't up, shooting 100 shots, in the morning. I wouldn't be in the first and last person to leave the locker room, but I need what you got because it's not right that you're getting something that we all should be getting. And I feel like when the Bidens made that comment, and the reason I say the Bidens because they are one. And I feel like when she made that comment, he had seen it. They had to have a conversation before she just flat out just said that, because that was just like, wow. The first time you ever see someone say, yeah, we're going to invite y'all to the White House too. That's weird. It's kind of like, hey, you really were wrong for that, but I'm not going to really say that you're wrong for that. But by inviting them too, we make it feel like we're all coming together. But if I were one and she did the same thing, like literally taunted all that, it wouldn't have been no LSU. You want to come to? It wouldn't have been none of that. Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'll say this too. In my opinion, a couple of things. One, I think it's not. I think it's unfair to add, like guessing variables. We don't know, like how the black culture would have responded if it was reversed and Caitlin Clark was the one all in her face doing this. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. You know what I'm saying?
We don't
know. Also, too, a couple notes I was writing down when y'all were talking. I know Caitlin Clark did actually come out publicly and say, no, I don't want to go to the White House because they never really invite second place. So I do applaud her for that. And she also said, like you said, Trey, like she did say, like, you know, like, I don't have no problem with what Angel did. Like, we're competitors. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm definitely, y'all been seeing me all year in folks' face. Like, I'm swaggy with mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't stop me. So, like, and ALSU didn't stop her either. You know what I'm saying? For all it's worth. This does remind me, though, like, Richard Sherman, one of my favorite players of all time, Michael Crabtree. They were going back and forth the NFC Championship game. And that very famous play when Richard Sherman jumped and kind of hit the ball back. And I think it was my Bobby Wagner intercepted it in the end zone. Michael Crabtree ran up, and a lot of people don't know this part, but he ran up to Crabtree and was like, hell of a game, and went to shake his hand. They were going back and forth the whole game. And Crabtree, like, big-faced him, like, get out my face. And Richard Sherman turned back to the referee, like, man, I'm just kind of congratulating him. He's like, bet. That's why that infamous, you know what I'm saying, interview after the game, like, you put a sorry receiver on me, like, Crabtree, that's what you're going to get, like, you know what I'm saying, LLB, all that's why it happened, because he tried to congratulate him, class act, hey, good game, and he got big-faced on national TV. So his anger, his emotions as a competitor, he responded the way he did. And I want to say this too, like, we're all black men in this room. We definitely have lived a life where we have missed out on opportunities because of other people's, you know, misfortunes or just from being black or whatever. And I do think that one thing we have to understand as a black culture is that one person, unfortunately, still, even in 2023, can mess it up for all the other ones of our same ethnicity. A lot of times this year, it's all over YouTube. There's a lot of fights that happened, or like there was during the March Madness, there was two teams walking to go shake hands, and this black player just like bow punched the white girl in her face, knocked her out on the floor. You know what I'm saying? After the game, and like I think when we have so many incidences like that, TCU got into one earlier this year. Like I think Jackson State, like it was like a bunch of these different situations, all started from black players. When these different things happen, it creates this unfortunate negative connotation around black players. And that's why you have the comment by Angel Reese, like, y'all been calling me ghetto in this all year because she's black. But, like, if we all just look at ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm black, let me move a certain way. Not necessarily conform, but just move a certain way as a class act, because it is a privilege to be a college athlete. Both of y'all got the privilege to do that. I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was supposed to run track in college. Lady didn't to my transcript. It didn't happen. But both of y'all were college athletes. Y'all know how it is to have that blessing and that benefit to be a college athlete. It's not a, you know what I'm saying? It's not, you don't have to be doing that. It's a privilege, you know what I'm saying? And I think that we have to, as a black culture, be mindful of how we move, because unfortunately, even in 2023, there's still racism that's very prevalent, and there's still a lot of negative connotations associated with our black race. And so if we feed into these negative stereotypes and stigmas, negative things happen. And so, while I don't, you know, I feel like if it was reversed again, if Caitlin Clark was the one in her face, like, you know, ring me, you might have had the black culture coming out saying, why is this white girl in our face and talking noise, like she should have got behind, knocked out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I do think, again, like you said, great point, like, if you're going to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? But most times celebrations happen with your team, with your fans, not in somebody else's face. Because we're all men in this room, too. We're all competitive. Somebody get in your face, doing all these gestures in your face, you don't know how you might react either. You might be like, man, get out Michael Crabtree, get out my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, you emotional in that moment. You lost. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's very important to point out as well, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Your favorite part of the show? Bio. You know what I'm saying?
Hey. Shout out to BioLite, a.k.a. the IV in the bottle, 500%, 50% electrolytes more than any other competitor. It has overindulgence, dehydration, cramps, upset stomach, and fatigue. Right? Drink a BioLite. You know what I'm saying? So,
But when they do drink it, tell them how they need to drink it.
Gots to drink it cold, my brother and my sister.
Please do.
Gotta drink it cold. That's when you get the best results.
How was your experience with it, bro? I know you.
It was good.
That's when you made up. You had for your first time you were on the keto journey.
Yeah, it was good. I like the punch flavor. That was the one I had.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like when I was an athlete, we used to drink what was it? They used to make, like, this is back in high school, like 2014 all the way through 2017. Well, 2013 through 2017, they would end up having like pickle shots, and they would make their own type of like BioLite, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? I always remembered. I was like, dang. They used to always like get salt in your system and whatnot. So I know when I took my first sip of it, I was like, woo. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what the electrolytes taste like. But no, it was really good. Like, when I drank it, I gave a couple flavors to my homeboy Callie. We had took some pictures not too long ago, gave some to my brother, some to my friends that came over, cracked open a bottle for them so they can drink, and they all give me great reviews on it, and they're all athletes as well, too. So, yeah, fruit punch is probably my favorite flavor so far because I'm really into, like, strawberry and all those different type of things. If the drink got the color red in it, I'm going to drink it. Not just because my favorite color is red, but that's just, I know the flavor's probably
Oh, I see the red
And
connection.
please, like you could check it out at Target. So please go ahead and stop by. Go ahead and stop by. They have all 5 flavors in Target. So
Tell
go
him
and
the
check
kid
it
that
out.
did sent you because he did.
Yeah, that's dope. But yeah, you want to say your famous pet in line for this part, Joe?
Play my theme music.
I was gonna see if you gonna remember it too. It's cool.
Man, another great episode.
We appreciate y'all, crowd favoritings.
Hey,
Thank y'all so much, man.
shout out to Miles Per Hour, man. Opening up for Big X the Plug
Big X the
on
Plug.
April 21st. Y'all pull up, man.
I don't want to hear the
Talk, you can say it.
With my guys and we got it up.
Yee!
Listen up, it's what everybody's saying.
Round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Hey, round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Hey, yeah. Shout out to the Falcons, man. Rise up, man. I'm getting my Super Bowl tickets.
All of these rings got me feeling like Brady. Say what I feel, I don't care how you take it.
Round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Hey, round of applause, give it up for the crowd favorite. Yeah.
We love y'all. Till next time. Peace.